All right, good morning, class. I am trying something new today. Instead of having me be filmed on the whiteboard, I have a little stack of practice problems that we need to go over, and I need to teach you guys how to do this because like the distance formula and the midpoint formula a couple weeks ago, this right here is brand new. And I really wish, guys, that you all were in the class with me because this is something that is kind of confusing at first, but once you get through it and once you do a lot of practice, then it's good. You can see my hands. Anyway, I really do miss you guys. I was nervous about this because, like I said before, it'd be awesome if you guys were in class and we can do all the practice that we want and you guys can see it in person. But I'm gonna do my best to show you guys this, and I'll tell you about the assignment. It is on clever.com, so not quizzes this week. It is clever.com. You log in through Clever, go to Big Ideas, and the assignment's just like we did back at school, okay? All right, this might be a kind of a long video, but I want you guys to know that this is super important, okay? You start off with a lot of angles, and polynomials kind of at the beginning of Integrated Math 2, so I'm hoping you guys get it. The first couple ones are almost common sense, and this is why I really wanted you guys to have a good working knowledge of those geometry vocab words. So if I say something like, right angle or degrees or congruent or something like that, you guys know what it is. Okay, here we go. First, and these are examples that you guys are gonna see exactly on the clever.com assignment, all right? So I have, I think, 7 problems I'm gonna show you guys, and through each 7, you guys will be able to do each one on Clever. You have to watch each example here. The first couple ones are gonna go a little fast, okay? All right, here we go. So number 1, there's a couple things I wanted to show you guys. There's a little M right here. Whenever you see an M next to like an angle and some letters, it stands for measure. That little kind of looks like an inequality sign, but that is the logo for angle. So if you see just M and then the logo right there, that literally means measure of angle. Okay, so we are finding the measure of angle ABC. All right, now here we go. We have a big angle here and we have kind of a ray right there with D. ABC, follow the letters, okay? The ABC right there is this point, A, B, C. Now this is key. I'm gonna say this a couple times. That middle letter right there always has to be the vertex, all right? We wouldn't say A, C, B. That wouldn't make sense, right? Because there is no angle ACB. So when we have ABC right there, it's A going towards the vertex, which is B, and then C. Notice it's not ABD. We're not trying to find ABD. We're trying to find the entire ABC. All right, this is pretty basic right here, but this angle right here is 30 degrees. The small angle, ABD, is 30 degrees. Angle DBC is 27. If this angle is 30 and if this angle is 27, well, these are called adjacent angles. Remember, that was in our geometry vocab. Adjacent angles share the same vertex. Well, that means, I'll give you a hint, or I'll just ask you, what do you think we do? We literally just add those two numbers together to find the entire angle. So 30 plus 27, oh shoot, well that's 57. That means our ABC is 57 degrees, okay? All right, any point in this movie or this video, please pause it if you wanna look at this, but I have to keep going, so it's not gonna be like a 20-minute video. Please pause it after maybe each question, take a look at it, and then you can resume. So please pause if you need to take a look, but I'm gonna be moving on. Sorry if it seems a little fast, okay? All right, so that was our first example. Here's our second example that you'll see on your assignment, all right? Measure of angle, there we go, there's that M in the angle logo again. Measure of angle RST. Well, let's look and see where RST is. There's R, our vertex is S, and then T is over here, so RST. So the measure of angle RST, the whole thing is 118 degrees. So if this whole big angle right here, RST, is 118 degrees, we have to try to find the measure of angle RSV. RSV. Oh, how would we do that? Well, if we know the whole thing is 118 degrees, and this angle right here, VST, is 70, what do you guys think we're going to do? If you said subtract, you are correct. Unlike the previous problem where we added them together, here we find the measure of the whole thing, which is 118 degrees, minus this part right here, 70 degrees. Well, let's see. 118 minus 70, that is 48 degrees. So the measure of RSV is 48 degrees. We just subtracted it. Pretty simple so far, right? If we know the whole thing, RST is 118 degrees, one of the smaller angles is 70, you just subtract to find the missing angle, 48 degrees, okay? Pause if you want to take a look at it. We are moving on. I wish you guys can see me right now, how I got this whole setup. All right, let me check and make sure the video's still good. Okay, it is. We're already at 6 minutes, wow. Okay, here we go. A straight angle. If I go fast, guys, I'm sorry. There's just a lot to get through, and that's why I wish you guys were here in class. A straight angle is always, everyone say always, 180 degrees. Whenever you see a straight angle, it is 180 degrees. It is basically, guys, a straight line. Let's look at this. Angle GHK, GH, I'll put a little point right there because that's our vertex, technically. GHK, this straight line, that is technically a straight angle. Straight angles, and this is so important, especially when you guys are in an IM2, are always 180 degrees. If you think about it, it's kind of like a half circle, right? It is a half circle, semicircle, 180 degrees, straight angle, okay? So that means that also up here is 180 degrees. 180 degrees plus 180 degrees, well, that equals 360, and we know that circles are 360 degrees. So that's why a straight angle, which is technically a semicircle, is 180 degrees, okay? All right, this is very similar to the previous one we just did. We are trying to find the measure of angle LHK. Well, where's L? Right there. LHK. All right, and kind of ignore that 180 right there. I don't mean to confuse you guys right there. The smaller angle right here is 65. Well, and we want to find the measure of LHK right there. Oh, shoot, what do? Oh, I know. 180 degrees, because this whole thing is 180 minus 65 degrees. All right? Because my brain is refusing to work, I'm just going to do a quick calculation. 180 minus 65, look at that, 115. So this angle right here, LHK, is 115 degrees. I was able to get that because a straight angle we know is always 180. We subtracted the part that we know, so the measure of LHK is 115 degrees, okay? We're almost halfway done. Please pause if you need to take a look at that. I am moving on. Number 4, okay, this is where it gets confusing. So far, that was kind of the easy stuff. Now it's like, what? And we go right back to what we started at the very beginning of the year, algebra and solving equations. Even though this technically is geometry with the angles and everything, we are still using everything that we learned, and that's the point, right? We constantly build on it we use algebra to find geometric solutions, okay? Our instructions are simple. Find the measure of both angles. X, Y, W is, what the heck? 6x plus 44, what? And then this, W, Y, Z, negative 10x plus 65. Come on, Mr. Wallace, are you trying to trick me? All right, guys, this looks intimidating, but I'm just gonna break it down for you. We know, let's look at our given information. We know the measure of angle, that's an angle, not an L, sorry, X, Y, Z. Here's X, Y, Z. The whole thing is 117 degrees, okay? So we know the whole thing is 117 degrees, all right? Basically, we have to solve for X, and then once we get an X value, we plug it into the variable right there and solve, plug it into the variable right there and solve, and boom, we have our angles, okay? Okay, if we know the whole thing is 117 degrees, let's just, this angle right here, we know this angle is 6x plus 44. Okay. Well, obviously, this smaller angle plus this smaller angle is 117, so we're going to have a plus sign right there. Think of it. We're going to have 6x plus 44. That's kind of our first angle. You can put imaginary parentheses around there. We're going to add it to the other angle because we know that equals 117. So the other angle is negative 10x plus 65. Oh, sweet. Here's our first angle. Add it to our other angle, and we know it's 117. I am simply just going to rewrite this without the parentheses because it's the same thing. Okay, 6x plus 44. Here's why, I don't want to just say this, here's why the parentheses can just go away. In front of this is an imaginary 1. If we use the distributive property, well, get rid of the parentheses, 1 times all that is still the same thing. Same thing here, that's a plus with the imaginary 1. If we distribute a property there, we get the same thing of plus, okay, watch this, negative 10x, okay, uh-oh. That means it's going to be a minus right there, all right? These are not going to cancel out. Plus 65. I'm going to rewrite it one more time because I want you guys to see this. 6x plus 44. Instead of the plus a negative 10x, well, we know that's the same thing as just minus 10x plus 65 equals 117. This is something, guys, to where I hope you see we've been doing this all year. Combine like terms now, right? That 6x minus 10x is negative 4x. That 44 plus 65, all right, let's plug that into a calculator real quick. Oh, that's 109. A positive 109, so that's just plus 109, equals 117. Oh, sweet. Now let's get all the variables on one side, numbers on the other. Well, my x is already on the left. I'm going to get rid of that positive 109. Get rid of it by subtracting it. Boom, canceled out. What I do to one side, I do to the other. Minus 109. 117 minus 109 is a positive 8. Okay, drop down that negative 4x. Negative 4x equals 8. Sweet, I know what to do next. Negative 4, divide by both sides. X equals negative 2. Wow. That's not my final answer though, right? I just found the variable. I have to find each angle. So this is where it just keeps on going, right? My variable is negative 2. Okay, I solved it this way. I'm going to just plug it in, right? That's all you got to do to find the angles is plug in that variable. Okay, here we go. Negative 2 right there into the x. So that's 6 times negative 2 plus 44. Oh, sweet, my variable's gone now. Now I can get an actual answer. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 44, well, that's the same thing as 44 minus 12. What is that, 32? Yeah, there we go. X, Y, W is 32 degrees. Now, we can solve this by one of two ways. We can plug in that variable right there to the x and get the same thing. But now that I know one angle, I can just subtract it from 117. I know the whole thing is 117, and I just confirmed this part is 32, so I can subtract 117 minus 32, or I can just plug in the variable here to the x and solve again. Let's do that. X is negative 2. I'm going to plug it in to the x right there. Negative 10 times negative 2 is positive 20. Positive 20 plus 65 is 85. Boom. Let's triple confirm. Is 32 plus 85 117? Yes, it is. We just found our two angles. So Z, Y, W is 85 degrees. W, Y, X is 32. Boom. This was a long one, okay? I'm going to speed up the next one because you guys can rewatch because I know this is going to be probably one of the longest videos I've ever done. It's at 14 minutes. I've got 3 more. Okay. This is the same type of problem, okay? Same type of problem. Let's look at our given information. The angle of LMN is a straight angle. Oh, sweet, straight angles are 180 degrees. So we know LMN, this whole thing is 180, okay? Now we have to find both angles. Oops, that's why I don't teach English. Find both angles, okay. Same thing as last time, guys. I'm gonna go pretty fast because I want you guys to be able to rewatch it. My first angle right here is negative 16x plus 13, okay? Now, I'm adding it to the other angle because I know it equals 180 degrees, right? It equals, this whole thing, since it's a straight angle, equals 180 degrees. Well, that angle, I'm gonna kind of put parentheses around it again. That's my first angle. Adding it to my second angle, negative 20x plus 23 equals 180, because that's a straight angle, okay? I'm gonna rewrite it, very similar to what we just did in the previous one. Negative 16x, those parentheses basically can just go away, plus 13. Now here we go. That's a minus 20x, so I'm not gonna put a plus negative 20x. I just know that it's gonna be a minus 20x right there because that negative does not cancel out, all right? That plus and a negative just means minus, okay? Now, that positive 23 didn't change. Nothing basically changed. It's still a negative 20x, positive 23 equals 180, okay? Same thing as last time, guys. This is now algebra, okay? We took geometry, figuring it out using algebra. Let's identify our like terms. Negative 16x minus 20x, that means it keeps going in the negative direction. What is that? Negative 36x. All right, positive 13 plus 23, oh shoot, well what's that? That is also 36. Positive 36 equals 180. Okay, we're just gonna be using the algebra now, okay? All the variables on one side, regular constants, the regular numbers on the other side. So if my variable's already on the left, I'm going to get rid of that by subtracting it, doing the opposite, minus 36, and that is 144. 144. Drop down that negative 36x. Okay, oh sweet, now we divide. Negative 36 divided by negative 36 divided by negative 36. Those cancel out. Here we go, 144 divided by negative 36. What's the minus sign on there? There it is. X equals, there we go, negative 4. Several months ago, that would have been our final answer, but it is not yet because we have to move up and find both angles. So just like the previous problem, we plug in the negative 4 to the x, and boom, we have our angles, okay? I'll show you a little shortcut to it. I get to choose which one I work with first. I'm gonna go with the big one because I like 20. That's better than 16. Plug in that negative 4 into the x right there, okay? So follow me, I'm gonna do a little bit of work up here. Negative 20 times negative 4, I'm just plugging in negative 4 to the x. Well, two negatives make a positive. 20 times 4 is 80. Sweet, that's 80. Plus, that 23 didn't change. 80 plus 23, booyah, is 103. 103 degrees. So PMN, the angle, measure of angle PMN equals 103. Let's save some time, guys. If the whole thing, like I said, is 180 degrees, I'm just gonna subtract what I know. I now know PMN is 103 degrees. 180 minus 103, sweet. PML is 77. Since this is a straight angle, we know that 77 plus 103 has to equal 180. So the measure of angle PML or LMP, it's the same thing. You can switch those up as long as that vertex is in the middle, M, right? Equals 77 degrees. Please pause the video if you need to take a look at it or rewatch it. I'm moving on. Two left. Here we go. These were the Super Bowl questions, guys. 4 and 5 were the Super Bowl questions. This one, here we go, is a touch easier. it's kind of the same thing. You're going to see something that looks like this, okay? How do we know that this is 90 degrees? Because of our little box. Whenever you see a little square right there among any big angle, we know it's a right angle. Right angles are always 90 degrees. Okay, so it's the same setup now as what we did before. This smaller angle right here, I didn't even label it, right? This smaller angle right here is 13x. Okay, 13x. I'm going to add it to the other smaller angle, add it to 10x plus 21, because we know if we add those two angles together, how much do they equal? Well, 90 degrees, because it's a right angle. Okay, let's rewrite it. Technically, mathematically, there's a 1 right there. We distribute the 1. We're basically getting rid of the parentheses, right? 13x, that didn't change. Well, that's a positive 10x, so that's a plus 10x. And that positive 21 didn't change. I basically, guys, just got rid of the parentheses. Okay, equals 90. Same thing as what we did before, combine like terms. 13x plus 10x is 23x. Plus 21, that didn't change, equals 90. Sweet. Hopefully you guys are getting used to this now. Variables on one side, numbers on the other. I'm going to get rid of that by subtracting it, doing the opposite sign. Boom, boom. 90 minus 21 is 69, equals 69. Drop down the 23x. Divide by 23, divide by 23. It's going to be 3, but let's check. 69 divided by 23 equals 3. We found a variable. That is not, once again, our final answer. It's just kind of like what we did with systems of equations, right? We did all this work for half the solution. Easy part though now, right? Once we know the variable, we simply just plug it in, all right? Plug it in to the x. 10 times 3 is 30. 30 plus 21 is 51. So we know our angle right here is 51 degrees. And let's just save some time. Since I know the whole thing is a right angle, 90 degrees, the whole right angle, 90, minus what I know. Oh, sweet. The other angle is 39, which makes sense. It's like we're checking our work. If we were to use that first, plug in the 3 to the x, well, what's 3 times 13? 39. Pause the video if you need to look. I'm moving on. We have one more question, guys. Thank you for sticking with me. This is like a regular class lecture, right? Oh my gosh, what is this? Don't worry, guys. It's the same thing, except there is no geometry. There's no angles. It's literally what you guys just did. Pretend that this is an angle, pretend this is an angle, and we have our 90. Next year in Integrated Math 2, a huge section of what you guys will be doing in the fall are polynomials, adding and subtracting polynomials, multiplying polynomials. If you can get this right now, it is already an amazing foundation laid for this fall. If you guys can get this, okay? Luckily, it's the same thing that we've already been doing, except now it's just algebra. There's no angles involved, okay? There's parentheses right here. There's a positive right there. So I'm just gonna get rid of the parentheses, right? Technically distribute a positive 1, nothing changes. 11x minus 25. Technically, there's a positive 1 right there. To get rid of the parentheses, distribute the 1. Same thing that we were saying, nothing changes. The parentheses just go away. Now, that's a positive this time, so I'm just going to put a positive 24x. Drop down the 10. That didn't change, equals 90. All right, guys, I'm going to speed it up because you guys have been doing this. Like terms, 11x, because these are on the same side. 11x plus 24x is 35x. Negative 25 plus 10, so negative 25 in the negative, that's a plus 10, so it's going in the positive direction, that is negative 15 equals 90. Oh, sweet. Variables on one side, numbers on the other. Add 15 to get rid of it, do the opposite. Add 15. So rewrite my equation, 35x equals, well, that is 105. Now I divide. 105 divided by 35. Sweet. And since there's no angles, that is our final answer this time. X equals 3. Okay. Guys, thank you. Please, please, please. I really hope you guys stuck with me. This is a actual lecture. Like, this is what we'd be doing and practicing right now if you guys were here. It is vital that you guys can do this. I don't want you guys to skip it. I heart you guys a lot. I will post dad jokes later on because this video is just too long. Man, look at my artist skills. Boom. Mr. Wallace's class, I heart you. Okay. Whew. Adios.